Hello and welcome once again to another great episode of the Terry McGriff Show. Just lovely and happy to be alive on the great state of Florida, Jacksonville, with my illustrious co-host wearing that cool shirt there over there. Duval, my illustrious co-host, Andre L. Sullivan. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Hey, man, this actually came from Dailies.
Really?
Yeah. Like if you go on Instagram, buy the jersey from Dailies. It was a limited edition. They made sure all of the good people who assisted with the draft party, myself, T. Roy, DJ WizKid, got them a jersey. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll take one from you.
Okay.
So yeah.
You got to give ourselves a Duval.
If you want to purchase them, go to dailies.com. They're there for a limited time only.
Okay, definitely. I got to do that, man. I like that, man. This is one of the things that's another thing about this show. We got a reason to be inspired. There was a couple of things that happened the last few days, like I watched some NBA, got my feel of some NBA playoff basketball, and watched the inspired play of the Atlanta Hawks. That was some things that kind of inspired me. I try to stay out of politics as much as possible especially when it comes to sports. But when the football player he came out and made his Instagram speech, it inspired a lot of people to do things. It inspired the NFL to make a donation on his behalf. I mean, and then I was literally talking to one of my players, this young lady who plays for my women's team, is just has inspired me. She is such an amazing person. She's got a similar story to Shaquille Griffin and Shaquem Griffin. You know how he was born without a hand. Um, I'm not going to give her a full story because that's something I want to like bring her on the air and tell. But she's definitely playing with some physical handicaps, if you want to use that word. I'm not real comfortable using that word. But with her, you wouldn't, if to know her, you wouldn't even think that she had anything wrong with her. She's probably one of the best women players, and she's her first year playing women's tackle football period, and she's one of our best players. And with her challenges, she's able to catch a football, snap a football. She's a starting center, and she starts outside also at defensive end. And she's one of our best players. Have never played the game before. She's played soccer and all that. I found out, but she's an amazing athlete and even more an amazing person. So I wanted to, based on Mary McCubbin, that's her name. Her name is Mary McCubbin. She's on my Facebook page. To know her is to love her, and she's just really inspired me. And not just to what she does and plays, how unselfish of a person she is. This show, I just wanted to like base this show based off of her. And there's a lot of other women that play the game of football that have inspired me. That's one of the reasons I do my league, Women's Tackle Football League. But it's a lot of people that just got like I got to do something about things that inspire us, because with all the stuff that's been negative, we need some stuff that inspires us. The city's been inspired because we got a brand new coach, we got a new quarterback, the team looks like it's going to be on an up and trend. So let's talk some stuff about inspiration today. How about that, my friend?
Sounds good.
Okay. But before we do that, let's talk about our sponsors: Watch Game Film, Team Sportswear Direct, also the Women's Tackle Football League, and SheCar, and all those great people at the Demp Project and Laces Out. So, and if you love what we're doing, please hit that like button on there and also subscribe to our channel. So, man, like I said, it just inspired. Let's talk about some things that inspire. So we're going to go with this first subject, man. We're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what are our most inspirational players. I just gave you one of mine. One of our the most inspirational performances that you've seen on the playing field. Um, the other thing, we're going to go a little bit of dig about why I love sports. I think that's something that most people can talk about. And then we're going to end it up why we love, and at least I know why I love football. So let's talk. Let's get started. most inspirational players in my life. I got several. I'll give you a couple, and then I'll let you go with a couple. For me, one of the most inspired players that I can remember was Rocky Blyer. As a young person just getting new to football, hearing his story, um, being serving in Vietnam and then coming back after having all those things that he had to do, and the way he played and how inspired he played, helping the Steelers get to the Super Bowl, and then the things now that he's retired, how he goes around the country with his inspirational messages and messages of hope. Um, he's one of the people that I kind of look up and try to pattern myself after when it comes to when things get rough. Okay, you got to pick yourself up. Everybody get down a little bit, but what you gonna do to keep going? So he's one of my guys. Another person was Muhammad Ali, is because in the midst of all the things that he had to go through during the Vietnam War, also how he was able to stand up for what he believed in, despite the pressures, despite all the things that were going on at the time. So he was one of the people that I really looked up the way he conducted himself.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, just I want to remind everyone, I only turned 31 tomorrow, so I'm still very much young. But so, um, my guy is Kurt Warner. If you know you follow Kurt Warner football career, that alone should inspire anybody to do
Mm-hmm.
anything. Um, Undrafted, out of college, going into the Arena League when at the time nobody really understood what the Arena League was or what
Mm-hmm.
it could be. Then getting picked up in the NFL and then saying you're gonna be a backup. And then like Gardner Minshew's situation, all of that changed within a matter of a play.
Mm-hmm.
And so going on to win a Super Bowl, blah 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 blah. And
Taking
I
the
was
second team to a Super Bowl.
right, taking the second team to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And if you go like, first of all, Kurt Warner's degree was in communications.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of always knew he wanted to end up behind a microphone.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that point, throughout media, throughout football, 9 times out of 10, you can find someone bad to say something bad about you. You can't find that about Kurt Warner,
Mm-hmm.
and that's rare coming from the quarterback position. Because someone always has something negative to say about a quarterback. It's just the nature of the job.
It is. Mm-hmm.
And so you take all of that, and then you talk about the fact that one of his children has Down syndrome, and raising that child as if he was never gone at any point, it's amazing just to see his matriculation through, a player, then a husband, father, then commentator, a TV analyst. It's amazing to see. And then the other one, I got to give it to Bruce Arians. Listen,
That is a good story.
listen. Here's the thing: you go Google Bruce Arians, and you'll find out a lot about him. But bump all of that. Let me tell you why I love Bruce Arians. When Bruce Arians, when they had the Cardinals were the team they did for Hard Knocks one season, and he said, and I quote, he told his coaches, if you ever miss a play, after school program, or something of your kids, I'll fire you myself.
Mm-hmm.
I took that to heart as a coach because I tell my players, hey, go home because I'm going home too. And that tells me right there, as a man, you value the people as a man, you value the people who work for you, their life at home.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, there were coaches who were scared to take certain players. I la Tyrann Mathieu, I la Patrick Peterson, I la so many players, and he's just like, okay, I'll take them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what? For a long time, there was a statement in the media saying, "Hey, if you want to go retire, go to Arizona with Bruce Arians, or go to Tampa Bay with Bruce Arians." And Bruce Arians is like, "Yeah, I'll take him. They're not done yet. If they want to play, we'll play." Low key, watch for Julian Edelman to end up in a Buccaneer jersey soon.
Okay.
But yeah, man, for real, because that tells you that there's someone not only willing to take a chance on you, but they're willing to bet on themselves taking a chance on you. And that speaks more about character and the inspiration that he gives out to his players, his coaching staff, and the people who hire him than it does about anything he does with X's and O's.
Yeah, I agree with you. And for most people, X's and O's is a big part of sports. But your ability to inspire people to go beyond what they think their limits would be is what makes the good coaches separates good coaches from great coaches. To get you to do things or to let people know how much you care about them to the point that you will go and give more than you normally would give. I mean, I was listening to I guess they did the top 100 team of all time in the NFL, and there was Ed Reed was one of those players that they had designated, and Ed Reed was talking about listening to Bill Belichick talk about what they thought about him and the thing, and he was like, "Man, you guys don't know that you guys were the inspiration for doing all that stuff, and you guys did me, and y'all learned all this stuff, and I learned that stuff from you." And then they were in and joking about how how they game planned against him, made the whole league change how they did coverage and routes because of him. He said, "But you guys inspired me to continue to learn and do best." He said, You inspired me. I coached an all-star game, and I took the jacket and I cut the sleeves off just like you did because you was inspired me. I wanted to be a coach like you." I was like, okay. Those are the type, and he never even played for Bill Belichick. He played against him. Those are the type of people and things that you want around you. Those are the type of people you want, not just in sports, whatever organization, because they help you help yourself, and they give you the things you need to be the best version of yourself. So that's why people that have those type of people in their organizations, they always seem to thrive, and the people who don't, they seem to struggle. So you can tell when there's inspirational people on just by looking at their organization and see what type of people that's around them. Because a lot of times not everybody does their inspiring with words, but most of the time it's with actions and words. But you got people who got the ability to do both. That's what makes it great. All right, let's go into this. Let's go some inspired performances. We got plenty of those to talk about. I'm gonna talk a couple, and then we're gonna go a couple again. One of the most inspired play performances I seen was Emmitt Smith against the Giants, playing with a broken arm
Ooh, okay,
and a
okay.
dislocated shoulder, and I think he literally willed himself and willed the Cowboys to that victory. Um,
Mhm.
I think he still had over 100 yards, and he had like 6 or 7 catches for like 50 or 60 yards and a couple touchdowns. And they did it all with one arm, and everybody on the team knew he did it with one arm. And they said, "Well, we need you because we ain't got nobody else back there that we trust to carry the rock." So, and he was the 50% of the offense because they were the triplets. And so the way he played that game, and that kind of helped him get over. I think they won a division based off of that game too.
They did. They
Um,
did.
yeah. So that was one of them. Another one is a little probably before your time. It was Jack. What was it? Lord have mercy. Jack Youngblood literally played a game with a broken leg.
Mm.
Yeah. That when you're talking about the amount of pain that you had to go to, because he wasn't a kicker or anything. He was a defensive lineman, and you're going up against other linemen, you're pounding, and you got to chase, and you got to change direction, and you're doing that. And I'm sure he had a little bit of pain, but your leg's still broken.
Yeah, yeah,
And you still go out there, and you wasn't just in the way, you was a factor in the game.
yeah.
So and he was one of the reasons behind their Super Bowl
Mm.
run. There was one more I want to talk about. I forgot the Ronnie Lott. I know everybody heard the story about Ronnie Lott cutting his finger off so he can continue to play. He broke it, and they're like, "No, just cut this thing off. Let me get on back out there." That was an inspired performance. Um, I'll go for it because I got one more I want to tell you about. But you go ahead.
I just have two.
Okay.
Um, the first one uh, is it's not it's not inspired by the team. It was really inspired by the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because now he's the head coach of the team he beat in that Super Bowl. But John Gruden coaching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Oakland Raiders in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, there's a line that Tupac said that he said, "Vengeance is mine, thus said the Lord. But once I get you, you will be on the floor." And here's the thing, like no one knew that that was going to end up like that. You couldn't predict it, but John Gruden literally rebuilt that Raiders team from ground up,
Mm-hmm.
and to a certain extent, he got gifted a very good team in Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
It just needed kind of just a little polishing, and
Yeah.
that's what he gave them. But at the end of the day, when you get to play a team in the Super Bowl and they're still using your playbook that
Yeah.
you put up,
Yeah.
yeah,
I know everything that's coming before it starts.
go ahead and put the Lombardi Trophy in our name because now I'm finna walk you like a dog, and everyone bought into it from their defense to their offense, and it's like playing with a stacked deck almost because as a player and you go out on the field and you automatically in your mind can feel like there's no mistake I can make because I already have the answers to the test.
Mm-hmm.
You literally play on a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to give it to John Gruden because you can say, well, he already knew the playbook. Okay, cool. They already had a Hall of Fame defense at the time. Yes. But they still had to go out there and do it.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did they do it, they did it in one of the most upsetting fashions that we've seen in quite some time. And so that's my first one. Now, my second one, I think, people have doubted LeBron James since he came into the league. And for some reason, they've always made that comparison with him and Jordan. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron, I want people to go on the record and say, LeBron there has yet to say, I'm better than Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
He's never said
He ain't
that.
gonna say it.
He's not gonna say it. You know what I mean? Out of respect for the game itself. But there was a time, he left Cleveland, went to Miami, got him 2 rings. Then he said, I'm going to come back to Cleveland because I owe it to that team. Not that organization. I want to point that out because if I was LeBron, after I left Cleveland, the way that organization talked about me, like I never did anything for them, I wouldn't have came back.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you.
LeBron's a better person than I am. But the Cleveland Cavaliers winning an NBA championship after already being down 3-1 in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Man, come on now. No one's coming back from a 3-1 deficit in the finals.
Yeah, you're right. Not very rarely happens.
You know what I mean? And so not to mention the team that they came back against had a 63-game winning streak that very same season. Like Golden State was when Golden State was the epitome of basketball at the time. People now knew who Steph Curry was. People now knew who Draymond Green was. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That was when Steph Curry just began shooting threes from the half court line for fun. Mm-hmm. And they were dominating the Cavaliers. Like they didn't care that LeBron played for them. You know what I mean? But LeBron led his team back from a 3-1 deficit and ended up winning an NBA championship to a franchise, a team in a city who had not seen a championship
Yeah.
since God, oh, man, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and so that was one of the most inspired performances because LeBron literally could have said, you know what, we're down 3-1. We got here. It was a good season, you guys. But no.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. It kind of reminds me of what the Atlanta Hawks did. You know, it went down like that, but the way they were came back from that 26-point deficit, and you know, it could have been over. And you know that it takes a lot of time when things don't look good to continue to keep going,
Right.
continue to fight, and you only do that when you have inspiration, a why to do what you're doing. And if you don't have a why, you cannot really be successful at anything in life. You got to have a why you're doing, even getting up in the morning, getting out your bed. Why am I getting out of this bed? You know, so you really that's one of the things you do. And speaking of whys, that goes right into what, you know, why we love sports. You know, why do I love sports? Why do you love sports? Why is this country, or why is this planet so inspired by sitting in a building watching other people doing the activity? What is the attraction? What is the reason why we do what we do? um why do you and I sit here in front of these cameras and talk about sports? Why? Because we love it. We love There's so many things you can take about, and I'll speak for myself on it. There's so many things that you can take about sports. Really, first of all, in a matter of speaking, sports has saved my life. You know, it spared my life. It's probably kept me away from things that I probably would have gotten into that would have taken me where I'm not on this planet now. It has taken me to different places where I never would have traveled to. It's got me tons and tons of different experience. It let me meet thousands of different people from various backgrounds and learned a lot of different things because of sports. It helps you. It actually literally one of the things that help you become a man. You know, learning about responsibility and accountability and about, you know, having some drive and determination and so many. I mean, you can just go on and on and on and on what sports can do for an individual and a group of people. It's one of the places when in this country you can go and you can escape racism for just a spell of time. You know, you can go and the guy that normally wouldn't go to dinner with you back in my time when I was a kid would be hugging you and like, hey man, we need you. Can you help me? You know, and talking to you and interacting with, and you would learn about him and his family if it wasn't for sports. So there's a lot of good. A lot of times people talk about bad things that happen, but there's a lot of good that with sports, and there would be this world would definitely be drastically different if there wasn't any sports in it, and that's why I love sports.
I like that. I like that. I got my college degree. My degree was actually in sports business.
Mm.
So I want to say about a good 8 of my classes in college for the 4 years that I was there was literally about sports. And in particular, there was a class called Sports Diversity and Migration. And what that class focused on was not only diversity in sports, but the way that we as humans connect with it. So, I can't remember the actual term for it, but sports is one of the few things in this country, and more particularly in this world, where it becomes a we thing.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is, say the Jaguars, say tomorrow was the beginning of the season. Jaguars had a game, and after that game, they won. Me as a Jaguar fan, I don't go around saying the Jaguars won. I go around saying we won.
Mhm.
And people forget sense of self. And you touched on it and alluded to it a little bit. For a brief moment in time, there's no racism.
Mhm.
There's no inequality. There's no there's no use for pronouns
Mhm.
like or whatever. There's just us. And when I say us, I mean humans. Because if you go to an NFL stadium during a football game, honestly, it's love. Like
Mhm.
Of course, you're gonna have the quick banter of teams teams fans talking trash about each other, but it's
Mm-hmm.
all fun and game.
Mm-hmm.
Go to a baseball game, literally, whatever you got going on in the world doesn't really matter
Mm-hmm.
in the mind in the part of that. Hell, soccer games are lit, people.
Yes.
um,
The number one sport on the planet right now for a
if
reason.
you ever get to go to a USA versus somebody game, go. Even if you don't like the sport of soccer, just go because it's an experience. You know what I mean? And it just sports almost brings together humans more than humans bring humans together. You know what I mean? Because everyone doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving. Everyone doesn't celebrate Christmas, Halloween, New Year's, Valentine's Day, so forth and so on.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But a good number of people watch football in fall on Sunday. A good number of people are going to their televisions to watch the conference finals for the NBA. A bunch of people in the world are gearing up to watch the Olympics, and thousands upon thousands of people sit around and watch golf. I'm still trying to figure that out. But my point is, at the end of the day, why I love sports is because simply I don't matter, you don't matter, they don't matter, but we matter in sports. And whoever you cheer for, whoever you root for, like you said,
or root against.
or root against, you know what I mean? For a brief moment in time, that argument you had yesterday, it doesn't matter.
Mm.
That bill, you're not gonna pay. It don't matter because
Yeah,
that game is going on.
yeah. Right. That's very well said. I like that. I like that. Well, speaking of that, well, let's get more specific. We football guys. I mean, we do all these other sports too, but we really football guys. And I know I am. I'll speak for me. I'm a football guy, and I love football for I guess what's the word I want? A myriad of reasons.
Mm.
Um, and so for those of that, it's a lot. And I'll do a couple of a few. First of all, football in itself is a just and fair sport. You will get out of it what you put into it, whether as a team or as an individual, and sometimes both, if everybody's inspired to be on the same page. And I can prove that because give you an example. Aaron Donald was not on a very good college football team. He wasn't not highly recruited, and he's inspired in himself and played that way till he got recognized at the level coming out of University of Pitt to be a first round pick. Turned that into being the best defensive player, if not the best player in NFL, and helped inspire his team into a Super Bowl appearance. So football is a just sport. I mean, it's really, really, you can get out of it. And obviously, there's politics. But when you're talking about putting your work in, you usually get rewarded for your work, individually and collectively. Obviously, sometimes people get bad calls, but you wouldn't get in a position where everybody noticed that bad call if you weren't winning enough to get that game. Case in point, Miles Jack. Everybody know that they earned 2017 was magical. They earned that spot. They got a bad call, but that they earned that spot to get into that game. The other things I like about football, first of all, the things that it teaches you, like I said before with sports in general, the accountability, the perseverance, the organization that you need, the ability to be able to get along with others, to be able to coexist, to be able to tolerate different mindsets, different and diversity, but make that thing also a good thing to having diversity in your locker room, because people can draw for that diversity, and especially in hard times. Um, it's just football it's become the number one sport for me because it truly really and truly brings the masses out together because first of all, it's usually just a weekly occurrence when that you don't get to play 2 or 3 games a week. So everything you do is building up for those few hours that you own that ground for that week. And especially in the playoffs, it's not like baseball, it's not like basketball or some of the other sports where you got multiple chances to win that game. Football is it's do or die. Literally, you either survive and advance or you don't. There's no well, we'll get the best out of three. No, and that ain't happening. And so the suddenness of it, the urgency of it, even each play is an urgent. We call like when my coach, said each play itself is its own game. That's why you got to forget about the last play and go on to the next play, which is the next game. And you try to take something from what you did right or did wrong and go to the next play and on to the next game. That's one of the great things I love about football, the urgency of it, the suddenly of it, and which it equates directly to life. Certain things you got to get done right now. You got to know how to get things done. You got to know how to handle your business and be self-accountable, not just worry about what everybody else is doing, but you got to do your part and believe the other people are going to do their part.
I'm gonna tell a story before I actually get to the answer. So I have not had I have one of those mothers who honestly never wanted me to play football.
Mm-hmm.
If I never ever touched the field, she would be ecstatic. But throughout my life, rest in peace to my father who died in 2014. But we tried to sneak and play football on several occasions. Several. I mean, when I say several, I mean several, for real, for real. We snuck in Pop Warner like 5 times until they sent that letter home saying, "Hey, your son is being recognized for this Player of the Week," and that got canned real quick. Tried out for the middle school team, made it, got into an accident, broke my leg. I was out for 6 months. Football was done. Just so everyone knows, I went to one of the most famous football high schools in the country, William M. Raines High School, who produced Hall of Famers. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was going to build a football team. Mom was like, no. So I got in the band because I was like, I'm not missing Raines football games on Friday nights. We'll get in the band. But I tell all that, I could not escape football. As much as my mom tried to pull it away from me, even when I was like, I'm going to go play semi-pro, you're about to go do what? Living in my house? All right. Mm-hmm. But no, there is, so if you've never played football, to kind of explain, before that ball gets snapped, there's about a 3 to 5 second of just peace, where all you hear most of the time is the quarterback's cadence or a linebacker or safety kind of calling out movement and stuff, and it's silent. Honestly, if you paid attention to most of the time, you can probably hear a rat piss on carpet. And before that ball gets snapped, it's literally peace. And then the ball gets snapped, and it's war. It's you against somebody else, and 11 people against 11 people. Somebody has to win. Mm-hmm. So I say all that to say that I love football just off of the fact that, one, it's the closest thing, maybe outside of UFC, MMA fighting, that will get to the gladiator type sport. And I was one of those players, even though you told me not to do it several times, I'm throwing my whole body into you. I'm going through you, whether you liked it or not. Like if I'm hitting you, you're gonna feel it after this because I don't want you to come at me. But and the number two, football is one of those sports, and like you said, It's either win now or cry about it later.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't win now, there's a chance I'm not going to get the win tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
or the day after that, or the day after that. It's not like basketball where I can play 3 games in a week, or baseball where I can play 3 games in one weekend,
Mm-hmm.
or tennis where I can play like 2 matches one day, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I gotta win now because tomorrow's not. And so it's that do or die mentality that gets instilled into a lot of football players' heads, where they take that into their regular life, into their workplace. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I don't do this, it ain't gonna get done. You know what I mean? And so, but in the third one, and the most important one, I love football because baseball kind of does it. Basketball definitely has done it at times, but there's no other sport outside of the ones I just mentioned where it can take somebody who literally came up out of the mud and can put them in a palace,
Mm-hmm.
literally off of the work that they've put in. Football isn't one of those lottery ticket things where you can scratch a thing and boom, you're a millionaire. Hopefully, you can't pick a random set of numbers and just win. Like, you got to get it out the mud, and you got to put the work in.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be the one to get it. And football is one of those things where it's an equal playing field when the whistle blows, and then it's my job to make it unequal for the person on
Mm-hmm.
the other side. And so that's what I mean by it. It can take literally a nobody, and if they work hard enough, and if they put the grind in, they do what they gotta do. They gonna make it eventually. I like Kurt Warner. You know what I mean? I gotta mention that at the top of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just one of the things I love because, like, just with the draft, there were over 500 players instantly just became millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
Most of those young men never saw over $100,000 in their life, and now they got it because they worked hard enough to get there. And that's just what I love about the sport.
Okay, okay, that was good right there, man. I'm telling you, that keeps me going. That'll keep me out there. That'll get me going through for this weekend. We got to go pick our team. The North Florida Pumas are going up to Connecticut. It'll be a stop off in New York City for a little while, for a day or so, to play the Connecticut Reapers and some women's tackle football. It's kind of it is a do or die game for both of us. The winner stays home. The loser, I mean the winner, uh, advances on and makes the playoffs. The loser's done for the year. So it's pretty much a playoff game to get in the playoffs. So let's go. So I'm looking to see what these ladies do. I think most of the women's tackle football season is starting to wind down into that playoff part. I think we've got a couple more weeks left, and then this is the final week of our league, the women's tackle football league's regular season. And then we got because of COVID, we had a makeup week, but the regular season is over, and then the playoffs start. But man, like I said, that it is do or die, and I really I'd like to thank once again. I'm going to recognize Mary McCoolin. She's North Florida Puma. She kind of had me want to think about this because, I'm definitely going to have her on our show so you can talk with her. And she's an inspiring, not just player but person. And once you get a chance to talk to her, and definitely if you, I got to get you on the watch game film feed so you can see her play. She if we were she was the guy. She that dude. You know what I mean? So um, it was just been inspiring. Speaking of that, talking about we had a new team in our playing start out. It was in our league, Wichita, and that was inspiring. That's the first time I ever seen a woman that I said was big enough to play in the NFL. I've seen some large women there. I forgot her name was Latanya. Can't remember her last name. She plays for Wichita. This lady's like 6'4", 325 pounds, and not a fat woman either. The biggest woman football player I ever seen in my life. And I'm like, she was dominant. You know what I mean? If she could, if she, I know she said she had to get in better shape, which she does, but when she, oh, that's gonna be scary. So I wanted to tell you about that, touch on that, man. I appreciate it. Once again, everybody, if you like what we're doing, hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button. Please, please reach out to our sponsors, Watch Game Film, Team Sportswear Direct, She Car, also the Women's Tackle Football League, Laces Out in the Dent Project. So I just want to thank everybody for watching this. When you get this, enjoy it. Hit us up. Let me know if what you need. Let us know if you want something else to talk about. And make sure you hit up my guys. Once again, I'll give recognition to my co-host here, Andre L. Sullivan, our producer, Granville Moody Fowler. And until next week, we'll see you right here. We want you to be blessed. And when we see us right here again on the Terry McGriff Show.